In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in Black and White emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our world.
Good afternoon, good happy Sunday afternoon to everyone out there as we enjoy this wonderful Labor Day weekend. Welcome to another episode of America in Black and White, where we are coloring conversations on the canvas of America. I know that you all were expecting our guest that we had scheduled for this afternoon, Mr. Lee Pepper. Mr. Pepper had something going on, and he is not available and was not able to make the appearance today. But as they say, the show must go on. So I'm here to more than just fill in, but to be about as informative as possible, as the thing that we do here on the show, as always. What I want to do is I want to welcome you all to another powerful edition of the show, where legacy meets leadership and truth meets transformation. I am Charles King. I am your host. I am also the founder and creator of America in Black and White. I want you to know that I am truly a serialpreneur that works to build communities. I'm here to build our communities. And I want for any and all of us that are watching the show and take place in what we do, this is something that I think is going to be beneficial for each and every individual here in the country. And I take it as my duty to try to be as informative and as best as I could possibly be, to be a resource for each and every individual, not only for just watching the show, but for those people that do need to be connected with people to help them out. I am the founder of CZK Enterprise and the visionary behind AMIBW, the magazine, and also the blog Changing Trends and Times. I want to thank everyone that's tuning in, that is entrepreneurs, community builders, truth seekers, to this space, because this space is for you. This space is for everyone. And this space in particular are for those that, I target the marginalized and underserved communities, but I am particularly wanting to make sure that those people know that this space is for them. And today, it's just me, no guests. We're going to do some real talk. We're going to talk about some real issues, as well as discuss real vision. Let me start out by saying to you all that when we talk about the magazine, I want to talk about that because it's our newest edition. And as our newest edition, my thing is I want to make sure that as you guys are actually paying attention to the magazine, if those of you that have gotten the first edition, which was July, the August edition actually comes out tomorrow. The August issue, of course, is the second issue. The themes, the featured stories, and the community impact is what it's about. So the theme for our magazine is to highlight our guests that are here on the show a little bit more in depth than what we get to do here on the show. So for those that are actually that get the magazine, what you're going to find is that you get to see the in-depth interviews for each guest, but what you also get is you get the opportunity to see each and everything that these individuals are doing. So as you see the things that they're doing, you get the opportunity to support by either buying a book, getting services from them, whatever you see that's fitting. But what we also want you guys to do is, as you go through that magazine and you go into the community, we want to get the feedback from each and every individual. That is to discuss, the person that you guys select, each of you from individual perspective, as to the person you believe should be the American Black and White Person of the Year. We're going to name that person, on our year-end review special, which will be December 31st. And so I'm really just wanting to make sure that you guys know that that is also the purpose of the community, for another reason to get you guys to come out and to make sure that you are leaning that support and actually taking that time to please submit your vote as to that person that you believe that should be the American Black and White Person. Tell us why you think that person should be the American Black and White Person of the Year. All of the featured articles that are in the magazine are the ones that I have written. And when I write these articles, these articles are being written based on not only what's happening for the month, but also in conjunction to work with what you guys are getting in the magazine. And so what you're going to find is, basically, you may find it to be as what they call like a theme pack. But what the purpose of those articles is that they're very informative, to where it's actually putting out there some situations or some things that are happening, to give you guys the pause to think about not only what that article is stating, but how it affects you, and what are some of the things that you can do in order to make that situation a whole lot better for yourself, but also make it better for people that are around you. The impact of these articles and everything that's there in the magazine is, we want to make sure that it has a profound impact on the communities in which we target. And when I say we wanted to have that community impact, that is from the perspective that when you're reading these articles and when you're in one of these underserved and marginalized communities, then what it does is that it gives you a reason to know why there are things that are so important that you should be a part of, and there are things that you should be doing in order to, one, make your community better, but also be better for yourself. And so we're definitely are here to make that impact, and that impact is the thing that we want to see from you guys most, and what we want to report on, as not just this year passes, but as going forward. Highlight and feedback. Now, I will tell you, that's one of the things that we enjoy more than anything, because when we get that highlight and feedback, that is from either, when you guys are watching the show and you do your comments, that's a good thing, because that feedback helps us to make the shows that much better. Ooh, excuse me. But also when we get that feedback and those highlights from you guys, it also adds to what we can do. As to when we bring our guest on the show, what we can do in order to make them that much better as well. So how that goes and what really makes this really important is one, when you guys either do this from the magazine perspective, or you do it on our YouTube channel, or you do it at the website. When you do your likes, when you share the events, when you share the content, when you make your comments, um, and these are the things that, from the magazine's perspective, because you can do all of those things as well with the magazine. And that's our main premise is, it really resonates with readers and the guests to know that one, there's a magazine that's got your interest, but also when you know that there are other people that can benefit from the content of that magazine. It really matters just that much. Um, our next phase, as we're going through with the magazine, as it starts its growth process, we're actively, and I want to make sure that each and every last one of you are listening. We're actively seeking Black-owned businesses and sole proprietors to advertise in the magazine as well as on the site americanblackandwhite.us. And so what that is on the website, we have what's called a resource page where we customize everything based on you, the owner, or the person that's representing the company, with the company logo, that person's picture with their name, the address of the business, the services of the business, how long it's been in business, just everything about the business, all of the services and everything that they're offering. And so what's going to happen is once you go to the website, and let's say if you're looking for something in that industry, when you type in on resources, you type in that search in the search bar. What happens is you guys instantaneously will get an email with all the listings of each and every individual that's in that category, which gives you the option and the opportunity to reach out to each and every last one of these businesses that are here. And you'll have the opportunity, they'll have the customer will have the opportunity to decide which of these that they want to do business with, and they just go from there. But the whole purpose of having this resource page is to ensure that when it comes to looking for online services and businesses in general, you all will have that opportunity to go to the website. Once you put that information in, you're going to be able to get that information like so quickly. And I'm sure that these business owners are responding, with great alacrity. I'm very sure that they're doing that, and they will do that. And so we're actually seeking, all Black businesses that want to advertise with us. I mean, you can actually do that within. And the way that works is you guys can, the calendar should be set up there, but if not, I'll make sure that it's there, where you guys can book the appointment, and we talk about how the advertisement go. Or you can email me at America in Black and White podcast at gmail.com. And we can also go from there to where we can discuss how this works. When people get to, when they get the opportunity to get your information, how that's working. We'll try to do a better job of actually getting the tracking going. But when you go to the website, this is how that's going to work. As far as the magazine, for those that want to advertise in the magazine, what that means is we will have everything based on, article size. You can either get a quarter page of an article, you can get a half page of an article, or you can get a full page article, whichever you like. And so again, I gave you guys the information because we're definitely seeking those Black businesses that want to advertise, and we want you to reach out. Let's have that discussion. Let's get you advertised so people can see you. They can learn a whole lot more about you, and we can get your business booming and moving as quick and as best as possible. We're definitely here to help, to make sure that from a resource perspective, that we are the best resource, and we will make sure that we are the best resource for you. Also, what we're also going to start doing with that as well is we're going to have media kits. We're going to have pricing flyers and booking forms as well. So we're going to make it easy and accessible, and make it culturally aligned for each and every individual that wants to advertise with us. And so just to make it clear, what we're going to do as of starting tomorrow, we will start doing these campaigns via social media to get out to each and every individual that sees this, that we want you to start. We want you to book that appointment to come to us and advertise either on our website, americainblackandwhite.us, or you can advertise in the magazine, because I do think that as the visuals grow, the magazine grows, the website is growing, the platform here itself is growing, it's going to help you guys just that much more. And again, we're welcoming the discussion so we can get you guys up and going on the resource tab. And so this magazine isn't just a magazine, it's a movement. It's a legacy in print. And when I tell you it's a legacy in print, this magazine is basically doing each and every individual, doing each and every community its best fit and its best help, because it's all about being a resource, but also highlighting those from the positive perspective that don't get the opportunity for people to know who they are and what they do. We're here to highlight, and that's what we're doing. And if you don't like positivity, then I guess maybe this is not the place for you. That's not the magazine for you. But there's everything that's positive about this magazine and this platform is the thing that we're trying to get out to each and every individual, because we want you guys to be here and to get all of the information and resources that we have. I have a question here in the chat, and let me see. This is from Mr. Liverpool. He says he's glad to be here. Well, Norman, I'll tell you, I'm glad that you're here as well, and I thank you for being here. And we're definitely here, and you can continue to ask as many questions as possible. As a matter of fact, I recommend that for everybody. So there's not a such as a dumb question. There's not a such as too many questions. Please ask your questions as we're going along with this show, because I promise you that this is going to be more than just a thought-provocative show. This show is going to give you some information on some things that maybe you never thought about, or the things that you have heard. It's going to give you a little bit more insight to make you want to know just that much more about it. So let's move on over to the show standards and the impact of the show. Okay, what makes our show different is the authenticity, the excellence, the cultural relevance, and the spiritual grounding. Now, so as I go through each of those, here on this show, America in Black and White, we're all about authenticity. There's nothing scripted about this show. Everything about this show is about each and every individual that's out there. We've got something for each and every individual that's actually looking to not only improve their lives, but make their lives that much more better. So when our guests come onto our show, what we discuss with the guests prior is the things that they've done, the impact of things that they're done, and we get to learn a whole lot more about them from a Black history perspective. So as we go onto the show, those conversations that you see, those are very real conversations. There's nothing scripted about them. Everything about those conversations are real. The people are real. What we do here is real. So if it's not authentic, then there's no way that people will want to see it. That's our belief. And so we want to give you just what you're asking for the things that you want to know, and also let you know that if there's any time that we can help you in times of needs, that's what we're here to do, and that's what we do. Now, when we talk about excellence, the show is excellent in its own perspective. And so when I say it's excellent in its own perspective, what you guys are finding out when we do our shows is that, one, we have a great format. We have it pieced together to where when we're doing these interviews, we do these interviews from the perspective of making sure that it's more than just connected to communities, especially the marginalized communities, but it's connecting with the people in general. Because there are an enormous amount of people that are out here in many places and many ways that really want to get the opportunity to tell their story. They can't go to those shows on TV to do that. And if they did, they wouldn't be able to do it the way that we do it. Because then, they got to give you some drama so people can play it up to a different platitude, which we're just not about that. We're all about what's real. And so the excellence of our show is we deliver. We're delivering quality product to you and everyone that's out there, because we want to make sure that you're tuned in to America in Black and White, and you're getting your dose of real life situations, real life people, and what's happening in everyday lives of all these individuals that are out here. Now, when we talk about cultural relevance is, when we deal with underserved and marginalized communities, normally people mention those as Black and brown communities. Now, from that perspective, what you guys have seen is nothing but excellence when those people are here on the show. Now, anyone that actually suits the bill of coming to the show can come to the show. But the response that we have gotten from those that find this to be a great platform for them are the ones that have benefited the most. So when they're here because not only are they speaking to the culture in which they come from, they're actually doing things to help people from a cultural perspective. That's where the cultural relevance come in. And so as we set this tone to create this legacy and to build this legacy, America in Black and White is not only going to be here in this time, but we will be there long term. We're talking about we'll be here at least another 15, 20 years or more, because we're always going to find those people that's going to need and have the opportunity to not only share their stories, but to share what they're doing to help people in their communities in order to make their lives better. Our cultural relevance is as best as you'll ever find. I just ask that you guys give us that opportunity by staying here with us, going through our whole process, listening and learning and participating. How you participate? You do those comments. You do that feedback. You tell us what's going on and as to what's happening in your community or some things that you'd like to see that we can add. This is how you do the feedback in the comments. And this is how you become a part of the show, because we want you guys to be a part of the show. We want you here on this platform. So as we're growing and as you guys get this opportunity, especially remember, the August magazine will be released tomorrow. We need to make sure that you guys are here, you're present, and you're getting all of the information that you need. So that's when that's about our cultural relevance when it comes to dealing with each and every individual that's out here. When we talk about the spiritual grounding is making sure that, one, we stay positive, and for the feelings and the emotions and the spirits that each and every individual have, our thing is to make sure that we're giving you and feeding that spirit that you have to make sure that you're getting those things that you want. We definitely feed the spirit, and we're definitely about the spirituality, because the spirituality, you can't go far if there's no spirituality. There's a reason for that, and that reason is that as you guys see how things work, and you know how you're feeling, and if you're not feeling so well, but you are actually sitting here and you're watching the show and there's something missing, that's where you hit the comments. Send us some comments. Send us some feedback while we're doing the show. We can address that while we're going through the show, because we want to make sure that we feed your spirit and feed your soul and let you know that we're here to ensure that you have the best experience possible, and you can always touch bases with me at any given time on any form of their social media, that's email, or even if you need to text me or give me a phone call. I'm just that accessible, and I promise to be that accessible as this platform continues to build and to grow. I want to tell you guys about the expectations for the guest and the community. We don't just interview, we uplift, we honor, we activate. So what that means is that when our guests come to the show and they go through the vetting process and they have been deemed fit to be a guest on the show, we expect them to be the utmost professional. And when I say the utmost professional, we don't actually try to streamline people all the way to the point that we make you feel like you have to be uncomfortable to be here. We allow, if you are a young man or a man, we do let you come here, with a collared shirt. We will not allow folk to come to this platform with t-shirts. We don't do t-shirts. It's all about being, that is the business casual with the collared shirt. If you decide to do the shirt and tie, that's fine and dandy as well. But you will be the ultimate professional. We don't just accept people here on the show just to be here, just to say, okay, we feel the seat. No, we don't do that. We're all about professionalism, And we're all about people actually being authentic as to how they want to get their story out to the people. Sometimes, ooh, excuse me, sometimes some people, they embellish so much that the embellishments turn into lies. Now, we don't tolerate that either, not here on this show. Everything has to be authentic and it has to be real. Now, with the guests, we also expect you to promote the shows because we create promo packets for our guests. Those promo packets consist of material that you guys are able to not just get it out to your followers via social media, but you're also able to create events with the tools that we give you. We expect each and every individual to do that very thing. Now, if that's not happening, now we have a problem. And I think what the problem is that sometimes when people take things for granted, it's like, I don't know. I know that's human nature for a lot of people to just see how far they can go by not doing the right thing. Well, I will tell you, here at America in Black and White, we don't tolerate that. I'm telling you upfront and honestly, we do not tolerate that. What we want to do, and what for the people that come here, we expect to give you the full and ultimate experience of power, of due diligence, of morality, of team building, and community. We expect to give you all those things and then some. If that's not happening, then those people do not come to our platform. If they can't meet these standards, they're not going to come to the show. We don't invite them here on the show. We also expect of all of our guests, that when they're here, that yes, you do handle yourself with professional decorum, but also, there's no need to go to bully form and insults and things of that nature. Now, humor is always accepted here, but those other things, no, we don't do that because we don't believe in bullying and we don't bully folk. Because just because we think we can, we don't do that. No, as a matter of fact, we protect people against bullies. When we talk, I'm going to tell you guys now about sharing results, our guest success stories, our community engagement, and partnerships forming. Now, when we talk about our guest success, now each and every guest that's come here to our show, they're already successful in their endeavors, both as entrepreneurs, most likely, as well as in career life. And so when they're here and those things are happening and they're giving you these stories, it is our job, which is what we do, is we get out and we actually push that narrative. And how we push that narrative is, I do it in many ways. And that is, I'll either do a blog post, to highlight the things that most of them are doing. We do this via the magazine, which also gives you additional points that you did not get from the show. And also, when you go to our website, which is where we're starting to do some things there, as far as our guest goes, is we're going to start having, testimonials, where you'll get to see people mentioning their success and things that have happened to them and for them since they have been here on the show. Our whole intent and purpose is to stay positive and to continue to push the positive narrative, because a lot of people don't get that fair shake, that fair deal. Ooh, excuse me. They don't get a fair deal when it comes to the things that, are most relevant to them and how things are supposed to have looked for them. And so, just what I want you guys to also remember is that we're building a platform where Black excellence isn't just celebrated, it's amplified. And so, when we have the folk that come here to this show, we more than want to amplify that voice. We want to use the bullhorn. We want to make sure that people all across the world are seeing, hearing, and listening to the stories of the people that come here on this show. When we say America in black and white, we mean it just straight cut, just like that. Everything is truth. Everything is authentic. We don't play around with any of those other things. And this is where we're going to more than just build this legacy. We're going to make this a very, very special situation to where things are just going to get that much better as the show continues to grow. And so, I'm sure that the majority of you have actually seen the amplification of voices, but we want that to continue. Whew. Let's have another question here. Here in the chat. This is from Son Judah. I don't understand your question. This is the question that's being asked by Son Judah. When did you get out again, bruh? Get out of what? Can you tell me what you're talking about? That I don't have an answer for that question, because I don't know when. I don't ever remember being confined anywhere. So maybe you need to ask that question again, because I can't answer that question. I don't know what you're asking. So I'm going to move on to the next part here of some things I want to discuss. And what I want to discuss is, America's crossroads and real issues of where things stand right now. I want to talk about the homelessness. Okay, right now, homelessness is at record highs, especially among older adults, and the shelters are not equipped for aging populations. Now, when we talk about homelessness, because we all know about prices have risen so far to the point that it's basically hard for anyone to afford anything. Now, when we're talking about, people wanting to live and survive, and we have now that those that are in the senior community, the baby boomer era generation, where we've got people that are homeless, that's a problem. And the reason why that's a problem is this goes on a much higher scale than local. This goes into national politics. And so when people start from that national level of politics, of playing God and making the decision of who lives and who dies, and decide who gets what when they decide they need to get it or how they get it, that's a problem. That problem starts with, the person that occupies the White House. So, in just thinking about this in general and as a whole, something is just wrong about that. Something's wrong with that. And see, the record highs are only going to get higher unless all of this is going to be, all these things have got to be reined in, because this spending This spending is like it's so horrible right now that tax cuts to the higher 1% has taken away pretty much all the money that actually goes into the coffers to make this country do what's supposed to happen. Ooh. So when we think about older people, older seniors that are now homeless and have to go to shelters that don't have or is not equipped to actually make their lives a little bit easier and a little bit better, we're looking at something that's a little bit off kilter. That's really a problem. And we're going to talk about these high prices. So just so you guys know about with the prices being high, inflation is still squeezing families, housing costs outpacing wages. So I want you just to sit back and I want you to put that in this perspective. When we talk about inflation is still squeezing families, that means that because these prices are so high, that you could be middle class and you're still in that point in that process to where survival is survival for you as well. So if that's the case, then what that means is that with prices being like this and nobody's doing anything to rein in the spending that's happening from Washington D.C. and the effects that it's having on pretty much each and every individual, then that's a problem. You see, it seems like, and I don't, we'll get to this a little bit later into the show, but what it seems like to me is that there's a premise of wiping out what was considered middle class, which was the heartbeat of this country. So if there's no middle class, which was providing, the jobs, which actually put decent income. Whew, excuse me. It put decent income in people's pockets, so they were able to live. And since prices were the way they were, and remember, the person that's occupying the White House then is a person that was occupying the White House back then, which was 2020 during the COVID situation. That is when prices started to go high. And so when they went high and they were like way, way, way off the cuff, they were being reined in. So in that process of being reined in and they started to go down, now they're going back up again. So that's a problem. When we talk about housing costs outpacing wages, the price of housing is like at an all-time high, and it's at rates that I don't think anyone could have ever imagined that even to get an apartment, where an apartment is $2,000 a month. No, that's not a good thing. That does not make things better for nobody other than the person that's collecting the money. But what I think we should all be asking the question of is why and how is this the case? So let's talk about healthcare. Budget cuts to Medicaid and Medicare threatens millions. Now, just off the bat, we know what that means. When we talk about Medicare and Medicaid, we're talking about the elderly or senior citizens, or we're talking about those that need the assistance that are on the SNAP program or so forth, because they're getting assistance. with that assistance, that should make things. I mean, that's a question that people really need to just ask themselves. Like, how is when we talk about healthcare and Medicare and Medicaid is cut, how is that affecting me? That affects you big time. And let me tell you how. For those of you that have a healthcare plan that is either via your employer or you've went through the exchange, that helps you, okay? Because that's why it's called the Affordable Health Care Act. You can get healthcare reasonable rates. Ooh, excuse me. So the next thing is, if you don't have a healthcare plan and you're on assistance, then you're using Medicaid. And so, with that being said, of course, you still have to qualify for that. So you're using Medicaid. Your life has gotten better. I don't know your cause, but I mean, some people are considered permanently disabled. Some people just disabled. Whew. But the situation is different for each and every individual. So as that situation differs, that means that safety net is there in place for those that need it, because we all support that safety net with our tax dollars. Let me say that again. We support that safety net with our tax dollars. Now, there are a few things I will say that they could have done there via the Congress, and that could have changed an enormous amount of things. And what that is they could have easily just wrote the bills, had it taken care of, that people would not be spending these astronomical amounts of dollars for things that is not going to do them any good. And when I say that, that is when folk actually take people money and use it for their own gain, when that in itself is a scandal. But that's what they're doing in Washington, D.C. They're taking our tax dollars and they're using them for their own gain and not for the people that they represent. And so when we talk about senior citizens, we're talking about funding extended but still fragile, and many lack access to long-term care. So primarily, there are things that are happening. There are things that are happening in both of these, in both the senior community, as well as just in different pockets in other places around the country, where people are being affected in a way that's disallowing them to get the health care that they need. We know you can't get it for free. That we do know. But even in that whole process, why is it being made so difficult that people cannot afford health care again? And I think, this is where people need to start thinking about, when I vote, how do I vote? It's many things, but let's go and we're going to talk about these tariffs and employment. Economic uncertainty, job instability, and rising costs. Now, when we talk about economic uncertainty, that is when people are losing jobs the way they're losing them at the rate that they're losing them. I mean, what's going to happen? The economy is being diminished, it's being drained. So there's nothing that we as the lay people can do other than to take to protesting and using our civic, taking advantage of our civic duties and voting these people out of office. So if you are not one of those people that honestly think that using your vote is going to help you, then I want to tell you, God help you, because you definitely need to be taking advantage of that. But with these tariffs that's happening, we never would have had something like this because, just thinking, there's somebody enforcing a tariff here in the 21st century when that's 18th century stuff. Why? Why are we doing that? It doesn't make sense. And so when we talk about the rising costs, for those of you that don't get the point of costs are continuously rising, they're rising because when this man enacted these tariffs, it causes prices to rise. And prices have to rise because the government is actually supposedly, quote unquote, getting paid by all of the merchandise that's being manufactured in other countries that's coming back to the States. So it's forcing that tax, which means you have to pay this tax in order for this to work. So this is where I think all of us as as consumers, that this is where we all should refuse to pay tariffs. We should just refuse this because it's illegal. That's an illegal tactic. Congress did not enact a tariff. The occupier of the White House did. He's not allowed to do that. So we all should take advantage of our civic rights, and we should protest this, and we should not, and I repeat, we should not support this in any way whatsoever. If that means not ever making a purchase again and just making your own products and goods, then do that. But we should exercise this and let it be known that we know that this is wrong. And we must ask this: who's being left behind in this economy? And what are we doing about it? Now, I want you guys to take some time. And for those of you that are actually watching, send me some comments here in the chat, because I want to know what, when it comes to, who's left behind and what are we doing about it? So one, we know that from the economic perspective, if you're marginalized and underserved, you're being left behind. If you're a senior / baby boomer, you're being left behind because the decision has been made. You've already lived too long. That's crazy, but there's a God complex there. And so if that's the case, then why should you continue to pay taxes? That's definitely not relevant to you. Because I doubt very seriously that each and every individual that's out here is in support of some kind of tariff that's going to cause us to fall short when it comes to economics. None of us are doing that. And so what we should do about that, like I said, is we need to protest this. We need to protest. I want to talk to you guys about politics, power, and presence, because this has gotten to an all-time high of the worst thing in the world. um, President Trump's recent moves, where he was talking about flag desecration, is an executive order where they would take action against those that did that. Um, the World Cup draw announcement and controversial crime crackdown. So let's talk about that. When you talk about flag desecration took place on January 6th when the insurrectionists did that riot on the Capitol when they attacked. Those domestic terrorists attacked the U.S. Capitol, all seen on camera, on film. They were desecrating the flag. But those are the same people that were pardoned. Why are those people pardoned, but they did this? And these executive orders that are being made, a lot of them are definitely, he has the power to do executive orders. We know that. Absolutely, he does. But that's not for everything, because there are a lot of things that are outside that limit or boundary for the president, which I don't call him a president because he's not a president. But, there are things that are out there, that are supposed to be handled accordingly. That's not what he's doing. So when you talk about real crime crackdown, this man has taken to he's taken to militarizing cities in the U.S. that you're not allowed to do that. But he's doing that. And we've got people that's got many scenarios, or many ways in which they're believing what this is about. But I'm going to give my own opinion, because I can tell you this. Just like most are thinking that this is all about preventing elections and keeping people from voting, I honestly believe that. Because there are those that are supporting him in the Conservative Party that are doing the worst things possible, and they're not being held accountable. But before we get to that point, I must ask this question, because we would not have had this situation had people thought rationally and real as to what they would have been doing. And when I say what they would have been doing, that is, despite how you feel about people that don't look like you, that you've fallen for a false narrative as to people attacking and killing people, and having your rights stripped away from you. That's a whole problem. If somebody this man spoke and he said what he was going to do. He said that he said he was going to do these tariffs. He said that those that did what he felt was an attack on him, that he was going to attack them. He said that he would do this with the military, even though he hates the military. And there's a slew of other things. But people still took that for granted. For those of you that took that for granted and said, no, he ain't going to do that, can you please write me a comment there in the chat? Because I want to know, what was you really, really thinking? Did you really think that somebody could sit there and tell you one thing and just do something totally different in this manner? Yeah, it's politics, but he didn't lie. He did some of this last time. Now it's on steroids. And you voted for him. So if you voted for him, send me a comment. And I want to know if you can tell me, why did you vote for Donald Trump? Please tell me, why did you vote for Donald Trump and what you thought Donald Trump was going to do, other than the very, very thing that most people already know, is that the majority of you folk that went out and voted for Donald Trump, that even includes the black folks, which was for some strange reason got wrapped up in this Jedi mind trick. Y'all went out, y'all voted for Donald Trump because y'all felt like Donald Trump was going to do everything to get black people. That was your whole thing. You say he gonna get them black folks. So he get them out the way. He get the blacks out the way, we'll be fine. He get the blacks out the way, we'll be fine. So I'm going to vote for him because he's not going to mess with me. He's told you all that he was going to do mass deportation. He said this 1,000,001 times. I'm sending the Mexicans and rapists back to their country. But Mexicans, Latinos, you all went and you voted for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is doing mass deportation. He's taken away the test that you guys take when you want to become a citizen. He's taking all that away. He's doing this fakeness of saying he's putting the military in these cities that are democratically ran by Democratic governors, and saying that they're going to do mass deportation now, despite the states not wanting that to happen and refusing it. Now, I'm going to tell you like this. What has transpired, I will say this is a sad thing. But when you ask for what you ask for and you receive it, stop whining. Why are you whining and complaining? You wanted Donald Trump and you got him. Stop whining. Stop whining. I've never seen anything like this before in my life, because I find it to be disgusting, for one thing, that people actually could vote against their own interests, but then you want somebody to come back and save you. What the hell am I saving you from? Nobody's going to be able to save you. Nobody's going to be able to save you. The only thing that's going to save you is that man getting out the White House before December 31st. That will help you. That's the only thing that's going to help you. Women, you knew that Donald Trump was coming in saying that he was against abortions. But yet and still, white women went and voted for Donald Trump as though if he was not going to have all these states in the Supreme Court enact this thing for Roe v. Wade, which they did, and now is back in the states. And now if they find out that you had anything that looked like an abortion when you got your nosy neighbor up in your house that's actually spying on you and calling the government and telling them that you had an abortion, and you go to jail, then what's going to happen? Does not make sense. That does not compute. Not all women voted for him, but the majority of white women did. which actually put him in the White House. And again, he's only going to get them black people. He's going to get the blacks. Come to find out now, he ain't just getting he ain't messing with blacks. He messing with everybody. Everything that he's doing is affecting each and every individual on the face of this earth in this country. All of us are suffering from stupidity. I didn't vote for this. I should not have to be subjected to this because this is something that you wanted. And again, I'm talking about this mass deportation. Latinos, you voted for Donald Trump. You got the man that you wanted. Now that you got the man that you wanted, you want to sit here and you want to complain about mass deportation and saying Donald Trump is wrong. But that's what you asked for. Can you have it both ways? I don't think so. I don't think you can have it both ways. This hand and this hand, it sits equal. Right? It sits equal. But when you voted for him, you did this. So if that's what you did, and it got the man in the White House that you wanted, do you really have a right to complain? I mean, somebody make this make sense for me. Send me some comments. Because this right here is the ignorance that's actually pretty much almost destroying the country. It's almost destroying the country because we've got some folk that were so enamored with hatred of black people that they don't even know people like that. They don't even know the ins and outs of what everybody else is going through because everybody's going through the same struggle. Everybody's going through the same struggle. And so now that everybody's going through the same struggle, but now you see that your plight, you feel like it's a little bit worse than everybody else's and it's just unfair. And so now you should justifiably get some kind of upper hand. Get some kind of upper hand because you're being discriminated against. But you voted for Donald Trump, the racist, the fascist. Again, I want somebody to make this make sense to me because it don't. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm upset because people voted against their interests for some strange reason. Now, you voted for who you voted for. I support whoever you voted for. I don't care about that because that's your right. You have that right to vote for who you voted for. But at this peril where everybody else has to suffer for that ignorance, I don't think that's fair at all. But there is no fairness. There is no fairness. So if there's no fairness, then what do you have? What do you have? See, this is now what we're talking about truth. We're talking about real talk. Now, it's a known, I'm not going to say that it's a known fact, but it's like a very strong possibility. I'm going to put it to you like that. A very strong possibility. 95% possible that as we go to December 31st, rolling over into the new year of January 1st, if all these things that this man has done and is doing right now, if they are continued into the next year, there will be no more democracy. No more. They're trying to stop elections right now. And the great state of Texas is helping him to do it. He wanted 5 seats. They did a redistricting in order to make sure for the midterm elections that he get those 5 seats in order to keep him in the White House because he knows he's going to be impeached. And he also knows that he is going to be kicked out because they're going to have a trial. Now, I will say this. I'm very happy and proud of the state of California. The Golden State is actually not going for that. Governor Newsom is going to do his part. They're putting it on the ballot. They're going to make sure that California is going to redistrict to offset what Texas is doing. Massachusetts is going to do the same thing to offset what Texas is doing. New York is working on doing the same thing to offset what Texas is doing. Where's the other blue states at? Where are the other blue states at? When are you going to do your part? Because there are no rules. These people are playing with no rules. But you want to sit there and say, oh, well, that's unlawful. I can't do that. I can't do that. But yet and still, so that means that you're complicit to the democracy being destroyed. That's all that means. And what that means is maybe you guys are getting part of that kickback. I mean, that's possible, right? Because you can't tell me for people that are sitting there and saying that they need to defend their house, they need to defend their territory or their property, that they're just going to let somebody just roll in and just take what's theirs. Now, that is, I take this, maybe I need to say it this way, because there are some people that still feel like, only white people have rights and black people, anything that's not white, don't have rights. So maybe that's how they're looking at it. So if that's the case, then I would think that everybody else just needs to stand back and just let you guys continue to do that fight that you're doing and kill each other. How about that? Does that make sense? Or does that even sound rational? You see, I'm putting this out here because I need you to listen to this and know what this sounds like. See, it sounds like what they say is a divisive game, when really it's not a divisive game. It's about divisiveness, true enough. But the whole thing about that is that it affects those that look like me a whole lot more, because there are people that look like me that have bought into this one thing, that anything that you do, you need to include everybody into it. Now, you still ain't got a community because the community you had has been taken away. But you still need to include everybody else into what you want to do when they're going to tell you that, no, you can't do this. Now, again, these are things that I need people to just give me some feedback, because I need to know exactly, how this works or how you're thinking about this. Hello, Dr. Hawkins. How are you? Welcome to the show. And I do appreciate your feedback. If you've got some for me, any questions that you may have, I want to thank you. So again, as I say, I need somebody to just give me some feedback on that, because, when Black people want to organize and do the right thing for their communities, that's considered treasonous for a lot of folk. And then you come in and say, oh, they're organizing their gangs and they're going to kill white people, which I think is the absolute most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. That's insanity. And you know what's insane about it? What's insane about it is that there's power in numbers when it comes to organizing and doing the right thing by where you live. But as long as you continue to stay separated, everything is okay. That's copacetic. Well, I want you to know that here in America, in Black and White, we don't do that. We're organizing communities. We're building communities. We're going to do those regardless of the case. People can think negative all they want to, but there's not a negative image or a negative situation ever about this show. and about this platform. You see, I take things like that, what I was just mentioning earlier, and I make that my whole purpose, because I don't care if you're uncomfortable. I've been uncomfortable primarily all my life. I've been uncomfortable because I've never been in a room that actually, from a professional situation where there was like a whole bunch of people that look like me, because that was never going to be in that room. And don't care whatever you do, as long as the top is controlling it. If there's a 5-person panel, you can guarantee that there's going to be 3 people that's going to be white. There's 1 black person and maybe 1 Asian or 1 Hispanic or 1 Latino person. And I can guarantee you one thing, that Asian or that Latino is going to vote with the white people, because whiteness is where they are and that's what they want to be. But when I ask, or when it is asked for black people to form and do the things that they should do, there are people that look like me that say, no, I'm not going to do that, because I don't want to be around a whole bunch of black people. I don't want to buy from a black company. I don't want to operate with a black company. I'm telling you, this is what people that look like me say. And when they say that don't discourage me. That makes me know that those people should not be a part of a major operation when it comes to dealing with people that want to have a purpose in order to get things accomplished. Those people are never going to be that way, because they've been whitewashed. You see that Jedi mind trick that Fox News and Donald Trump plays, it plays into the psyche of those folk, because anytime you can sit there and look at people that look like you, knowing that your forefathers, but before you got to where you are right now, face those same struggles, but you are still siding with the oppressionist. So I'm just wondering, when are people going to realize that, when it comes to organizing, everybody needs to organize with their community. Everybody needs to do that. Everybody. And I think that we should do this with ours. I think everybody should do that. But I'm trying to understand, why is it that it's so much emphasis put on black folk getting together and organizing? Why is there so much emphasis put on that? Has anybody even thought about that? I'm sure you haven't. So also, some other things that also, from a political perspective, that's a problem here in the country as well, is I did a blog post on this a couple of months ago. Is the USDA and the FDA, are they doing their due diligence of keeping us safe when it comes to food safety? I can't say that they are, because there's been like an enormous amount of food recalls that's been taking place, and they're happening like at a pace that you just can't even keep up, including the one that was really, really horrible. The one with Walmart selling the radioactive shrimp. Yeah, Walmart was selling radioactive shrimp. I'm sure that was something that, at least I hope that was something that wasn't done intentional. But again, how did that even pass inspection without them even knowing? I mean, I don't know, that just does not sound right to me. And I'm just wondering, if we've got something like that going on and people are really being affected by that, I mean, what's the real outcome? I mean, because there could be something in this food that's really causing more illnesses than you can ever believe. Because if you notice this or not, I mean, now there's so many different various forms of cancer that's happening that's actually taking people out now. And so why is cancer at this rate? I mean, again, this is something else to think about. And so, also the thing that that this administration has been talking more so about than anything is the crime rate in DC is why he sent the National Guard and the military there. Same thing he did to California, right? Now I want you guys to really listen to this, because for one thing, that's a lie. But the crime in the red states, okay, because this is the way they like to see things, red and blue. The crime in the red states is like, now everybody know California is the largest state in this country. Crime rate that's over 200 times the rate in California are taking place in the red states. You got states like Alabama, Texas, Utah, Alaska, Missouri, Tennessee, Arkansas, South Carolina, and Louisiana with these very high crime rates. Very high. Where's the National Guard and the military for that? No National Guard, no military, right? No need, right? You're just going to kill yourself. You'll be good. But he does this in DC and California, and now he's trying to do it in Chicago. I mean, somebody please help me to make sense of this, because this is just foolishness. But then, also people want to live a better life and want to live longer. Let me tell you something about air quality, because, air quality is a main source of life for not just, for all living organisms. Do you guys not know that here in the Peach State, the great state of Georgia, has the worst air quality in this entire country? But it's not just Georgia, it's the entire South that's got these horrible numbers when it comes to air quality. And let's not leave out Idaho. Yes, Idaho. And again, we're talking about all of these issues in red states. But they're so focused on what they say is capitalism, repression when it comes to anything that's not white, and destruction. That's it. How is it that these other states that's down here in the South can actually send people from their National Guard to a place in DC where they don't even have not one iota of an interest there? So I'm just talking about the convolution. It's all convoluted. So there's also the speculation about his health and media presence. Now all of a sudden, after they pretty much ran Joe Biden up out of DC and back to Delaware, talking about him and his mental capacity. Now all of a sudden they're saying this about Donald Trump. But it's not just that. They're also talking about him illuminating odors and things of that nature. And so all of that's concerning. But is it concerning enough to have these people that should be men to stand up and say it's time to enact it's time to enact the amendment to actually get him out the White House for mental incapacity. They won't do that because they're afraid of him. Why are they afraid of him? What secrets does he hold on you that you're so afraid that if you say anything against him, that he's going to put you on blast? Now, there's several senators. There's several senators that that have actually just disappeared and faded to black. You don't even hear from them anymore. You don't even hear from them anymore. And the reason why you hear from them anymore is because they're afraid to say anything about Donald Trump because they're afraid that Donald Trump is going to expose their secrets. But it's not like everybody don't know a lot of those secrets anyway. So, hey, whatever that is, more power to them. Now, I want to talk about the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is a party that has been living on false premises for the longest. They've been living on false premises for the longest. And when I say that, they have benefited off the support of Black people for the last 50 plus years. Now, I'm going to make this clear and totally clear to you right now. I am not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. Neither of those parties get my support. Neither. The Democratic Party, knowing the opposition. Now, I'm going to point this out to you and let you be your own judge. The Democratic Party knows the challenges they face. They know that they have been supported by Black people for the last 50 plus years. They would not, after all this knowing that, okay, Joe Biden was going to get out the race, they waited till the 9th hour to say, okay, Kamala Harris, you're up next. So Kamala was up next, and she didn't get the support that she deserved. She didn't get the support. But then they want to come back and then they say, we want to throw in this candidate for the next presidential election in 28. And, this is the person everybody's supposed to get behind. But at the same time, Donald Trump is destroying the democracy. Donald Trump is trying to prevent losing the midterm election and get us to the point where we have no more elections. Now, the Democratic Party was in power, House, Senate, and presidency. They did not pass voting rights. Pass that bill, get it through, so that you don't have to worry about, folks talking about who can vote and who can't vote. They did not do that. They didn't do it. Now we're sitting here, and folks that have voted and have done their civic duties for as long as they can remember, have that now as being a possible challenge. Those folk that's supposed to, quote unquote, leading the Democratic Party, those are figureheads. They are figureheads. And I'm going to tell you why they're figureheads. It's because just as the Republican Party is doing the things for people that look like them, the Democratic Party have their own version of the elites that they're supporting, that they're getting money from. And they would not dare sit there and say that they're going to do something that's going to feature and focus anything that's going to contribute to the positivity of Black people. They're never going to do that. They can quickly, for those that's running on the big stage. So I want to make sure everybody that's listening to this is listening to this. They are the first thing they say, especially if it's somebody that looks like me that's running on that stage, is I'm not just an elected official for Black people. I'm an elected official for everybody. So when they get into office, the bills that are passed are for everybody else and not Black people. But they still say you need to support them. Now, I want you to tell me if that sounds like something that's feasible or is that crazy talk? Because why would I vote for you if you don't have my interests? You see, that's the purpose of this show and my platform, is because those folk, no, I don't deal in that kind of foolishness because we have a real cause and a real purpose. They don't. They're all about making their friends richer, bringing their friends into the fold where they are the next up, and they're taking tax dollars just like the Republicans and giving it out to all of their friends and like, okay, Mr. Billionaire, I got you. I got you. That's my billionaire right there. Now, this is what they put on mainstream media when they show you the donor list. And when they show you that donor list for these major Democratic candidates, do you honestly think that they're not serving them? They ain't serving us. They ain't serving us. That's never a plan to serve us. You can be any other nationality. You can be Jewish and you can scream from the mountaintop that, oh, when they're talking about Jewish people, they go pass a bill. You can be Asian and you can scream from the mountaintop, they're beating up Asians, they pass a crime bill against to help the Asians. You can be Latino and say, well, we're here and we're supposed to be here, and you know our rights are being discriminated against because we're here. We've done what we were supposed to do to get here, and we have to do what's you have to do right by us. So they get all the assistance. They get all the assistance along with the white people. So that's why they identify like that. But Black people don't get that kind of assistance. When you ask for assistance and you Black, they send you all the way down the train. You go to the end of the train line. You get all the way down to the last stop before that decision is made. And when that decision comes back, you get a fifth of what these average folk are going to get, which still is really not helping you because you still got to struggle. But you got people that look like me that want to go and support all of that and not support your own communities. So I want somebody to help me to make sense of this. I really do. Because either this is madness or this is a dream. I mean, I'm not sure. But what I will tell you is that, I can guarantee you that as all of you just think about it, but I'm telling you, we are welcoming. I need to have you on this train as we build. I am asking you to get on this train as we build. This is all about unification. This ain't about one person or one thing. This is about unification. We need to unify. I want to unify. Stop all the separatism, because we need to do this Now, because now the times are dire. The times are dire. A lot of people don't like to hear the truth. I'm just putting it out there to you. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't need to lie to you about anything because there ain't nothing I can gain from a lie. There is not one thing I can gain from a lie. But I am going to tell you that I need each and every last one of you to come and get on this train and support. And let's grow all of our communities together. I need each and every last one of you. That ain't no lie. This is all real. This is all real. And as I said, it's called America in Black and White for a reason. And it ain't nothing as, you know, as those that look outside, those that are outside of me, oh, that's so radical. See, it becomes radical then. But there's nothing radical about that. But it's not radical when, you know, you get the police beating and killing black folk. That's not radical. It's not radical when you go and you apply for a loan and they streamline it so bad that they want to know when was your mama born? What kind of craziness is that? We need to be doing our own thing. I'm welcoming you all to the train. Let's go. Let's get on the train because we need to go and we need to do what we need to do. And forget all this because nobody's coming to save us. We got to save ourselves. So that ain't going to go anywhere. But so I just want you to know that also, when we uplift the strength of black people, you know, when we have the resilience, the leadership, and the legacy building in the face of this systemic neglect, we don't have to do that. We do not have to do that because we all have our own resource that we can all contribute and make this thing work. I am talking about building our communities the way they need to be, making things accessible for people in our communities as they need to be. I can care less about somebody running around here screaming, talking about, oh no, that's not right. That's not right. They're not including me. If you're a part of the community, you're more than welcome. Watching this show, you're more than welcome. You want to be a guest on the show as long as you fit the criteria, you can be on the show. But this show is about building communities, especially our communities. There ain't no sugarcoating that. That ain't making that sweet for the wrong reason. That ain't add nothing else to that don't need to be there. This is all real. So people can take that any way they want to. If you want to take it as, oh, he's being exclusive and all of this other stuff, no, that's not the case. That's not the case. You know, people have a way of trying to twist words. You can twist words and play that Jedi mind trick with somebody else, but not me. Not me. No. That's not going to happen. When I'm talking about building communities, I'm building communities. When I'm talking about Black excellence, I'm talking about Black excellence. This show has exemplified Black excellence and will continue to exemplify Black excellence. So what's the problem? Problem is we're taking this and we're elevating it. And we're going to continue to elevate it. We don't stay stagnant. We keep moving. So again, for those of you that are ready, we've already got the process together. So we just need you to come on and get your seat. And so I'm going to go ahead and just do some things here and close this show out because there's a few other things I need to talk about, but I think I've given enough of truth serum today. Again, if you're a business owner, a dreamer, or a legacy builder, This is your moment because I need you to partner with us. I need you to partner with us. I am asking you to partner with us. We got a lot of work to do. We can't do it on our own. We need everybody. We need everybody. And so I want to continue to invite listeners to subscribe to the magazine. I need you to follow the show and subscribe to the YouTube channels, get all of the notifications. I need you to share the movement. And when I say share the movement, that is, as we have these shows, I need you to be sharing the links. I need you to be telling people about the show. I need you to get folk to come to the show, subscribe, listen faithfully. And in the process of doing that, make sure that you're active on the shows. Do your comments, ask your questions, whatever you may have. You're more than welcome to do that. We're not waiting for change because, like I told you, nobody's actually coming to save us. We need to save ourselves. We're creating it. And one story, one spotlight, one soul at a time is how we're doing it. So, again, let's come and let's get this thing rolling. And I want to tell you, may we talk boldly, speak truthfully, and build eternally. And so with that being said, I want you to know, and let me just do a summation. I'm looking for all Black businesses that need to advertise to reach out to me, fill out the form, send me an email, give me a call, hit me on the website. I need you guys to go to the website, americainblackandwhite.us. Again, that's americainblackandwhite.us. You can watch the show there. You'll see the resource page there where you'll be able to know if for those that are advertising now, we're just now opening this up. We need to get your business advertised, as one of our resources. You'll see blog posts there. You'll see the form as to, comments. You'll see where the newsletter is. All of those things are there. So I need you to go there and I need you to subscribe. I need you to go to the blog, Changing Trends and Times. Changing Trends and Times is a WordPress blog that I will tell you, it too is a space that we're allowing, Black businesses to advertise. And, we do cross-sectional packages when it comes to the advertising. So please fill out the form and let me tell you everything that's going on there, because we definitely need to make sure we get you exposed to more people. We help you to build that business. And we help you to build your brand, because when we're talking about top notch, we're talking about America in black and white in these wonderful changing trends and times. I also need you to check out our YouTube channels. There's America in Black and White, there's CK Stories from the Heart, and there's also Changing Trends and Times as well. And so each of those channels, they broadcast the show live. There's things there that's going on that's relative to each channel, that you find different posts on, and you get to learn everything that's happening in those particular segments. I need you guys to go and join our community. Our community consists of a podcast side where you get to watch the show. Then there's also a side where you get to network, you get to do posts, you get to get to see in those posts where you get to like posts, or you get to create these posts, and we're creating a point system for you, but we're actually building up to do a major networking event. That's the main thing. And so as we build the community, we want it to grow and we want to do it in the right way. So with all that being said, I want to thank you all for spending some time with us today. It's been truly, truly wonderful, and I'm very happy to have been able to do the show. Again, I'm sorry that Lee wasn't able to make it, but the show has still turned out to be another wonderful show. And I want to thank you all for spending this time with us on this Sunday. Tomorrow is Labor Day, and we are having a show tomorrow. And I will say to you, please join us as we do great things in that show tomorrow. That's going to be very, very enlightening for you. You all have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow on America in Black and White, where we will continue to color conversations on America's canvas. I'm your host, Charles King. Have a great evening.